What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. It is time for another fun adventure here today, and we're going to be discussing all of the movies that I am most anticipated for the month of March. March is an absolutely stacked month this year. There is so many big hits and potential blockbusters on the horizon that it is going to be an absolutely ludicrously fun time to follow along in the box office, to go check out all these great movies. We have just got a plethora of great movies coming out. It is fucking amazing to see, once again, so many big movies coming out. That's not just in the summertime, that the box office is finally coming back together post-COVID to give us just a plethora of good hits, and we're going to rank them all up today by what I'm most anticipated for the month of March. But as always, before we dive into that video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop some comments down below. I want to know what you're most anticipated for in the month of March. And now we will get on to the show with what I am most anticipated for. Coming up in the rear, in dead last, the movie I am least looking forward to for the month of March is actually the last big movie to be coming out in March, and that is Dungeons and Dragons. It's a tale as old as time. It's a trailer that I've seen a million times before for movies like this that are trying to be something and capture a moment here in the zeitgeist that's just not going to hit. You've seen it happen with Warcraft. I've seen it happen with Power Rangers. I've seen it happen with so many of these types of movies that they're trying to put out that I just don't think it's going to find an audience, and I think it's going to end up crashing and burning on impact. The cost is just not going to be able to justify the box office revenue. I don't care who you've got in it. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, a bunch of other B stars that are in it. I just don't think this movie is going to have the goods to bring the heat that it needs to in the box office to make itself a nice little profit. I think this movie is going to end up actually being, I consider this movie is going to be the biggest box office bomb of 2023. I stand by that. It's going to be interesting to see what it does here at the box office. I hope it ends up being able to find an audience and it is able to do well. I just have seen this story time and time again, and I don't think it looks good for Dungeons and Dragons. Never mind that the movie just doesn't look that exciting. I think whoever cut that trailer should be slapped. It just doesn't really make you excited for the movie at all. Like, it doesn't feel like a fun adventure romp. Even throwing my favorite band in there, I love Led Zeppelin. Normally you throw Led Zeppelin on anything and I'm like, fuck yeah, baby, let's go. But it just doesn't mesh well, and the trailer just leaves me just like hopelessly, just woefully not excited for this movie in any way, shape, or form. Up next after that is a movie that actually has had a very turbulent lifespan, and that is Operation Fortune. And then there's a subtitle, Ruse de Guerre, whatever. Very French. I mispronounced it horrible, I'm sure. So we're just going to call it Operation Fortune. This movie was supposed to come out last year. I remember it being on the docket to be coming out last year in March. We were supposed to be getting it at my theater. And then out of nowhere, it just disappeared. No one talked about it. I think we had gotten a teaser poster or something. And then out of nowhere, just no one said anything about this movie. It was just pulled from the repertoire and it just disappeared. And I was like, well, all right, who knows what the fuck that's going on about. And then out of nowhere, this past January, it just suddenly came out in European theaters and did, a little decent amount of business for itself there in European theaters. Guy Ritchie seems to do okay for himself out there, but there was no mention of it coming to the stateside at all. And any mention that I did see of it was saying that it was going to end up coming straight to streaming, either Netflix or whoever was going to pick up on it. And then about a week or two ago, out of nowhere, with about 2 weeks ago until its release date, it suddenly was like, hey, March 3rd, it's coming in theaters. Everybody's getting it. And then now for the last week or two, you've seen a trailer for it anywhere. Just never a great sign. It's trying to get whatever it can out of there to try to put as many asses in the seat as it can opening weekend to try and make any type of money that it can. Never a good sign for a movie. I think Operation Fortune is much going to be like Dungeons and Dragons, and it's going to end up being a box office bomb. I don't think it'll be as bad as Dungeons and Dragons simply because there isn't as much money sunk into Operation Fortune, but it's going to be a bomb, I think, nonetheless. It doesn't look as exciting as most Guy Ritchie movies do. Like, he usually is tailor-made for this kind of shtick where it's just like this action heist caper with a bunch of nefarious characters that just trade one-liners and say a lot of weird and silly zany shit. He did great with it with plenty of movies, from Snatch to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, even to King Arthur. I fucking love that movie. The Gentleman is another fucking great one. This one just seems like it's just not firing on the cylinders. It's just the subject matter about it just doesn't seem to be firing. The one-liners don't really seem to be firing in the trailer, and I think they realized that they didn't have a big hit on their hands, and that's why it's just kind of getting unloaded here. But that's where these two movies are just really falling at the wayside here, because they just seem like they are just not in any way, shape, or form prepared to be a theatrical experience. Up next is the movie A Good Person, starring Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. Is the story of Florence Pugh, who I believe she gets into a car accident that kills her sister-in-law, and then it goes through a turbulent lifestyle of her trying to get back to, you know, a level head after that, dealing with the after effects of all that, and dealing with the family that she was a part of that now wants nothing to do with her because they killed her daughter. It looks just like a very dramatic affair. It looks entertaining enough. I think it's going to be buoyed by some really solid performances in there. I love Florence Pugh, Morgan Freeman, always a hit in everything he's in. Directed by Zach Braff, so I think it's got the talent there. It has the potential to be a very good dramatic movie. The trailer leaves a little bit to be desired. It feels a little on the nose and not as like subtle or as, you know, laid back and dramatic as you would hope for. But I have hope that this movie is going to end up surprising us and will end up being one of the sleeper picks of the month. Up next after that is the movie Champions, starring Woody Harrelson. You can always go to the bat for a Woody Harrelson movie. I love that guy. It's the story of a dude who is I believe he's an NBA coach, and then he gets kicked off for whatever, whether it's a losing record or he flies off the handle or whatever. It's a sports classic that you've always heard of. The coach that gets kicked out of the big leagues and has to go back down to the minor leagues, and through working in the minor leagues, he ends up getting everything that he needed back to put himself back in contention in the big leagues. We literally just saw it last year with Hustle with Adam Sandler, except instead of being a coach, he was a scout, but it's kind of like the same story there. It's a story you've seen time and time again. You know what you're getting into, but it looks enjoyable nonetheless. You got Woody Harrelson. He's down in the minor leagues, and he's teaching a group of, I believe they're just autistic and developmentally challenged young kids, and trying to create them into a team and be a basketball team and a winning basketball team. And through working with them and the people that he meets around there, he ends up getting exactly what he needed to earn his right to go back to the big leagues. So it's one of those movies, you've seen the movie 1,000 times, but it's going to go down smooth and easy, just like they always do. They're going to be super entertaining. It's a movie that's not going to win any awards, it's not going to break any bank at the box office, but it's going to be a nice, modest hit, I believe, that you'll enjoy for having seen it. You'll forget it 5 minutes after you saw it, but when you 20 years down the line, when you're like, oh yeah, like that was a pretty solid movie, you're going to remember it fondly. Kicking off the top 5 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. This is a movie I really enjoyed the first Shazam movie, so I'm still excited for this one. I think it looks good. It still has a lot of the heart and warmth and fun of the first movie there, with all the characters in there. Zachary Levi was great as Shazam, bringing back all the old characters from the first one. I think it's going to work very well for the movie. It's going to be very interesting to watch this movie and just see what it's going to end up happening within the pantheon of the new DC universe and everything that's going on with all of the behind the scenes shit with all that. So it's gonna be interesting to go and see this movie and just see what ends up shaking out from it. But beyond that, it just looks like a solidly entertaining superhero movie. Again, I know I'm not the biggest fan of superhero movies, but when you get like low stakes ones like this that aren't really like changing up the formula, that are just doing what they're doing, they can work depending on the characters that are in it, the people that are playing it. Shazam is one of those movies that worked for me. I thought it was just fun enough when I saw the first one. I think this one looks a little solid too. You got Helen Mirren in it. I love me some Helen Mirren, so obviously you know to hit me in the sweet spot to get me into the seat. So obviously I'm looking forward to this movie a little bit more than I normally would when a superhero movie would drop. In fourth place, Ghostface returns. It's Scream 6. We're taking the whole crew to New York City. It worked great when they did it on Friday the 13th, right? So this one's going to be interesting. It looks like one that could either make or break the franchise. It looks like one that if it sticks the landing right, it could be a hell of a lot of fun, and it can be very wild and look very gory and wild. Or it looks like one of those ones that can be like all those other franchise killers where they just finally just went one step too far, and it's just breaking the continuity, it's breaking the fun of it, it's breaking the world of it, and you're just like, you know what? I'm done with these. It could go either way. Always taking it out of Woodsboro is going to be a very interesting scenario here to see it fully fleshed out in New York. Doing this whole weird new shtick they're doing with, like, you've never seen a ghost face like this, and he's just going ham and going wild in the streets of New York City. I don't know. It's one of those movies that can go either way. I'm on the more positive side on it. I think the trailer on it looks particularly violent, and I think it's going to be one hell of a violent and gory movie. So I am looking forward to it. Jenny Ortega, the flavor of the week right now. She is in fucking everything, and she is capitalizing while the iron is hot. She is doing everything she can. She looks set to put in another stellar performance in a line of stellar performances from this past year. In third place, The third movie in the franchise, my boy Adonis Creed returning to the screens. We've got Creed 3. I love the Creed franchise. I love the Rocky franchise. I love sports movies. So I am super excited for this movie to finally be dropping. I've been waiting for a Creed 3 forever. I loved Creed 2. I love the first Creed as well. I just think this is a very reliable franchise, and it looks like the trilogy here is going to end on an absolutely stellar high note as well. Bringing in Jonathan Majors, chef's kiss, inspired choice there. That guy is the fucking man. You want to talk about the man version of the flavor of the week right now, going along with Jenny Ortega? That is Jonathan Majors. He's in fucking everything right now, and for good reason. He's fucking fantastic in everything that he's in. He's the one highlight in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Everything that he's in, he is just elevates the performance. He is fantastic. He was an inspired choice to bring into this movie. I think also the story direction it looks like it's going with these two dudes who are from, went together when they were young and they separated. One went to jail. One, obviously, we saw through Creed and what his life has been. And now as the guy gets out of jail, he looks set to come back and get back the life that he thinks Creed has stolen from him. And it looks like it's just going to be a stellar movie that's going to culminate in one fucking fantastic boxing match at the end. Again, we're talking about formulaic principles here, but they work. Formulas work for a reason, because when they're done right, they are absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a shame to not have Rocky in this one. I think that is the one downside about this, is that there will be no Rocky, and he is something that is, it's integral to these movies. He is the heart and soul of these movies, so it's going to be interesting to see how this movie does without him, but I'm still super fucking excited nonetheless. In second place is John Wick Chapter 4, the latest entry in the John Wick franchise. Who would have ever thought that we'd be sitting here saying we're getting a fourth entry in the John Wick franchise? I remember when the first one came out, and I saw it with my buddy, and we were like, what the fuck is this? This looks ridiculous. We gotta go see it. And then it absolutely ended up being one of the best action movies of the fucking 21st century. We're like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And then they banged out the second one, and it was even better. And then they banged out the third one, and it was even better. So now they're just like, how the hell are they gonna top it? And this trailer looked to be the best yet. I was like, this movie looks fucking incredible. I cannot wait for it. I love the idea of him going to the table and just setting forth a final duel that will either let him be free or kill him in the long run, and then the guy that he's going to duel just sends a bunch of people to try and kill him before he can make it to the duel, so that way he doesn't have to worry about facing him. Inspired, simple, effective, going to be freaking incredible. My one downside to this movie, and it is a huge downside, it is something that has made me very nervous about this movie coming out. It is 2 hours and 50 minutes. That's fucking absurd. I mean, I'm remaining optimistic. If they did it, I think there's got to be a good reason for it, because that is a huge jump. I think the last John Wick was maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes, 15 tops, and now they're adding suddenly another 45 to 50 minutes of movie here. I'm hoping beyond hope that there is a good reason for it, that it is going to earn that runtime, but I am a little cautious, because if any movie does not need to be 2 hours and 50 minutes, it is a simple action movie like John Wick. I just don't think that's a franchise that needs to be pushing 3 hours, but I'm going to remain hopeful here. I'm going to remain hopeful. It still looks fucking awesome, and you got some fucking stacked cast in there, so I'm going to remain positive here for right now. But there can only be one, and it's a movie that I'm sure to nobody else it's their number one. But hey, that's what we love about movies. Everybody likes something different. Everybody looks forward to something different. On the other hand, sometimes I love a simple premise. Sometimes you just give me something simple and I could sink my teeth into it. You give it a good trailer and I'm just fucking there. And the one movie that I am most excited for the month of March, that has caught me from the second I saw the first trailer, is the movie 65. It's simple. It's Adam Driver crash lands in a spaceship 65 million years ago, and he finds one girl left alive on the ship with him, and he must protect her, and the two of them must fight dinosaurs. All I need to know. Dude's got futuristic space equipment, and he's fighting dinosaurs. That's it. That's all we need. Survival movie. Whoever walked in and pitched that, they probably gave him here's $25 million. Go fucking write that thing right now. That sounds amazing. I am so excited for this movie. I can't wait. I love original movies too. As much as I'm super excited for all those movies, so much of it is all sequels and just franchise things. To me, I am most content when I'm sitting in and I am enjoying a new piece of art that has never had a franchise to it before or anything, and they're giving me something new. Not that I don't love franchise stuff, and not that I don't feel like I can't get something new out of a franchise. I just love when I go in knowing absolutely nothing about what I'm going to get in return from this, and I love being pleasantly surprised. I love being disappointed. I love all that stuff. Whether it's good or bad, I just love that feeling of when you sit into a theater and you're getting something that you've never gotten before, and you're just giddy with anticipation for it. So 65 is my most anticipated movie for the month of March. And that'll do it for my list. It is an absolutely stacked month. We have got freaking just a bevy of hits coming at us. It is going to be epic to watch the box office. It's going to be epic to go catch all these movies. It's just going to be such a fun month here at the cinema. I hope you go out and check out all of these movies. If you only check out a few of them, that's cool too, but hopefully you're getting out, you're going to see as many movies as you can, because we are being blessed once again with some fantastic additions to the theatrical experience. But that'll do it for all of us here at the Outpost in this adventure. Until the next one, you have been you, I have been me. These are the movies that we love so much. And until next time, I'll see you at the movies.